An idea of what that kind of an occasion is like for players?
Well, I suppose half an hour beforehand now, they're doing their final touches in the warm-up underneath the stands in beside the changing rooms, and it's a nervous place.
Yeah.
A lot of raw energy, nervous energy in there, and I suppose there's not going to be an awful lot of talk about tactics, or they're just trying to get their heads and their minds in the right place to go out, because once you come running out the tunnel and get into your last little bit of warm-up on the field, you don't have time to think, because it's the parade, national anthem, and then before you know it, the ball has been thrown in and you're getting ready for battle, really.
And I suppose to some degree, a lot of these Meath players, now they were Leinster final winners, of course, 2 years ago, but still for some of them, this is a new experience as well.
Majority of them. I think there's only 4 or 5 of them from their last victory, and from the game, the championship last year, there's only 4 or 5 of the guys involved as well that were playing championship last year. So this is a very new look starting 15. Now they do have an awful lot of experience on the bench. So amongst the subs, if they're needed, they have guys come in that have played in Leinster finals, that have won Leinster finals, and for them to come through today, they'll be needed.
Yeah. Tony, one thing that Jason was remarking on actually there when we were looking at the teaser there and looking at the games past and so on, he said different body shapes.
Different body shapes, but they were all quite effective with their body, how they use it, I can tell you. They were no soft touch.
Yeah.
And I suppose looking at Meath this year, it's a small bit of a throwback to that type of way, because I thought Meath were very structured last year and the start of this year. And it was really they threw off the shackles when all the hullabaloo that happened when the executive tried to get rid of Banty and all that. They came back, got together and said, look, what do we do well? They brought in John Evans and they got themselves together. And with all these young fellas as well, there's a certain naivety about youth. And they kind of play with a certain amount of freedom, and we saw that against Kildare. They struggled a bit earlier on against Carlow, beat Wicklow earlier on in that, but they threw the shackles off, played more direct ball, ran with the ball, drew frees. I suppose young people, when they start off like that, they have no fear. And with all those young guys, there's 8 of them under 23 on this team, and there's 2 or 3 subs as well that Banty has brought in last year. So it is virtually a new team. It's a new thing for them now. While against Kildare, they know what the Leinster final is like now, of course. And it's a total different thing, because they'll have the week to prepare for it. And it's a big mental thing, as Jason was saying. Today will be different for them, because they'll have the press and that everybody will be talking about it all week, looking for tickets. So it's a new learning experience for them. We'll just see how they get on today. I just hope it's not too much for these young fellas. They can play football, but it is a totally new thing going to the provincial final.
Speaking of young fellas, Pat, Dublin have claimed the minor title here in the first game at Croke Park. That was a Dublin Meath affair. Also Dublin winning that 3-17 to 1-11. Never really any doubt about it.
No, very one-sided. And they're the products of what is an excellent coaching structure in Dublin now at both football and.
It's good to remind them of that.
Despite everything that you achieved, is that the thing that everybody keeps reminding you about when you meet them?
Yeah, it is the moment in history. Well, for our period of time, that I know you went on to win an All-Ireland after, and we won a few, but it's the one that gets brought up constantly, and I suppose it's the great one for the memory banks. Absolutely, yeah.
Isn't it amazing to be talking about games like that, first round in Leinster, and you use the word history?
I know, it is. It was such a unique occasion, and things weren't great in the GA at the time. Soccer was very big, and there was crowds were dropping by the numbers, and it kind of springboarded the GA for the 90s period particularly. So it was a very relevant time.
Keith, do you still get hurt when you hear somebody like me bringing that up?
Not one bit, Joanne. No, we've moved on from things. As you can see, he's got bald and I've got grey. So.
And fat.
So we got on for things. But it was a great period in GA history. I want to thank the Leinster Council for having the both squads here today. It's a wonderful gesture from them. But it was a great period for the GA at the time, and both teams really enjoyed it. But the most important thing, the fans enjoyed it. It was a relationship that both counties really drew on, and you can feel the special atmosphere here today. It's absolutely wonderful.
Well, that's it. Why is it so special, David?
I think we weren't really a contest before '86, but Dublin were only beating us by 1 or 2 points for 10 years previous to that, and they were going on and winning All-Irelands. And we got the turnaround. So it's always been really, really, really tight. And the great thing about the supporters is they're very honest. If you lose, your support says, well, you deserve to lose. And the Dubs are very good at that. They're good at analysing the game. So very good analytical fans, I think, helps an awful lot.
You say that just as they kick a ball
And
straight at you.
compared to today, there was no back door then, so winner took all, you know. And if you came out of Leinster, you had a decent chance of progressing to an All-Ireland final, even though that game happened to be the first round, like, you know what I mean. And what you got there, two teams went out in the field, they gave a lot of
Yes, and I noticed that Bastic has actually picked up Graham Riley, who's gone to midfield, and surprises me in a way that Brian Meath has gone in wing forward.
Here's Conor Gillespie. Graham Riley of St. Colin Kills. Open road in front of Riley, a big gap. Screaming for it is Stephen Bray to his right. Riley goes himself. He's got 12 points from open play in the championship. Make that 13. And the first point of the Leinster final is for Meath and for the very impressive Graham Riley.
Well, as you said, Darragh, open road certainly came for him that time. He just kept going. Nobody could stay with him, and that's a beautifully struck point.
Eamon Fennick. Kevin McMenamin was there. It's come off the hand of young Donald Keoghan. The right side of
That's a powerful run that time by Macaulay. I think it was Brian Meath actually who got back at him, got the hand around the neck, conceded the free. But that time Macaulay's power was very, very manifest.
Bernard Brogan. In front of Hill 16. The foot pass from Michael Darragh Macaulay. Now McMenamin lets it go. Fennell continued his run forward. Hesitates a touch. Here's Kevin McMenamin. That looks good. It's a great point. Really fine point on his weaker left side. He's been their go-to forward in their matches so far in the championship, particularly against Wexford, and opening his account here.
Yeah, the thing I loved in that move, though, was the foot pass. I think it was from Michael Darragh Macaulay. Beautifully weighted, great support play then, and finally McMenamin shot a wonderful score.
David Gallagher's kick out, just a fraction too high for Paul Flynn. Came off Conor Gillespie. Now, just 19, his first Leinster final. Philly McMahon. Alan Brogan. Big gaps opening up. Brogan time to pick his spot. Bernard Brogan is screaming for this, played in behind. Riley struggling. Brogan, point. Proving his point already. He felt he was trying too hard in the Wexford game. Did a lot of soul searching. He's come up with this point.
Yeah, fabulous movement that time for the two Brogans. Beautifully weighted pass, great movement, lateral movement by Brogan, and a great score. But as you said in your commentary there, Darragh, a moment ago, there's a huge space out around the middle of the field at the moment that need to start filling in. They need to get bodies back in there to stop these movements at source.
Damien Carroll trying to get to that. It's Dennis Bastic who has it. Alan Brogan. Dublin starting to get a foothold. The referee spotted something off the ball. I think it's a foul against Kevin Riley right in. Brogan slots that over. 5 shots on goal. And they've got 4 shots on goal indeed, and 4 points. They lead 4-1. Just have a look down here. Bottom left corner, that's where it was.
Yeah, he was pulling him there, but just going back to it a moment, I think there have been 5 kickouts so far in the game.
Dennis Bastic too high. Kevin McMenamin. Conor Gillespie behind him. Kevin Nolan. And look at the space and look at the free man. And James McCarthy, chance for him to raid forward. Philly McMahon was the decoy. Alan Brogan has lost his man. The Meath defender is just not getting tight enough. Bamboozled by the movement. Alan Brogan for Dublin slots that over. The movement of the Dublin forwards just tearing Meath asunder.
Very much so. Young Keoghan that time didn't get close to Alan Brogan. He's finding it very difficult to track his movement. Meath had the same difficulty in their semi-final, I think, early on against Kildare at cornerback. They may need to do a switch very, very quickly. Needed again. Meath haven't won a single kick out.
Bernard Brogan slots over the free.
Over the last 5 or 6 years is standing them in good stead at the moment.
Meath need this. Brian Farrell. Their last point, their last score, their only score 14 minutes ago. Put it over. The whistle's not helpful at all.
Another fair dues to his concentration. He missed a bad one the last time. Pressure was on him, held his nerves, kept his technique. Great score.
4 points between them. That's gone Dublin's way. Dennis Bastick just so difficult to stop when he gets a bit of a gallop on you, and here he goes again. He's incredibly strong. Brian Cullen, poor pass though. Here comes Conor Gillespie from Summerhill. Joe Sheridan is there with him. Sheridan been picked up by Kevin Nolan. He's moved out to the half-forward line. That's a good ball. Brian Farrell. Farrell pops it up for Stephen Bray. Now Graham Riley. And Bray, it's good interplay from Meath, and that's much better. Really fine point. 2 in a row. And for all the fine football that the Leinster and All-Ireland champions have played, only 3 between them.
Yeah, and interesting, that was one of the first times we've seen Conor Gillespie involved in the play, but the quality of the crossfield ball from Joe Sheridan that time was first class. Good interplay then resulted in the score by Bray.
The Dublin kick-out eventually comes to Stephen Bray. That was for Damien Carroll, who's finding it hard to get into the game. Philly McMahon picks out Paul Flynn. Behind him is Brian Mead of Meath. Now Riley is with Brogan, and they invite pressure again. Keane O'Sullivan. Dennis Bastick. That's a tricky one for the goalkeeper. Oh, Bernard Brogan of Dublin. Brogan goes to ground. Too many steps. He held onto it too long. It's a free out. A free out for Meath.
It's a free out. It could easily have been a penalty, and an awful bit of indecision on the part of David Gallagher, I think, kind of it brought that about. But I felt just watch this here. Brogan gets the ball, gets inside Riley. No, I thought at that point there, he could have got a penalty actually. Marty Duffy saw it otherwise, saw that he was over carrying and gave the free out. Just watch it here at that point. Yeah. I felt that catching, that's what just talking about a moment ago. It's so important that when the ball goes indirectly like that, the likes of Brian Farrell, who's a lot of experience, can beat his man in a 1-to-1. That time, look at, he got out in front, I think it was, of Michael Fitzsimons, took him on, drew the foul, and now it gives Meath an opportunity, and they're getting a further 13 metre due to descent. Yeah,
for descent, and Brian Farrell only too happy to move it forward the required distance. We understand Kevin Riley is going to have to come off as that is popped over by Brian Farrell. They're only 2 behind. They've got the last 3 in a row.
Yeah, and it's a credit to Meath in this context. Like, they've been beaten territorially and beaten in terms of possession for the first 23 minutes or 24 minutes of the match, and when they, you know, and yet
semi-final. Owen Harrington on wearing number 18 though, an experienced campaigner, 5th year in the Meath panel. Here comes Dennis Bastick of Dublin. McMenamin just showing him where he wanted it played. Lots of movement off the ball. Alan Brogan turns back in, gets his shot away before McInerney could get to it, and that is a really good score from Alan Brogan. His second, both from play.
Yeah, that's so simple that time. Just a little ball popped back to him, just looked up at the post, didn't go into the tackle or anything like that. Just watch it, had the confidence and the accuracy, and a very, very good score for Dublin.
Sauntering over to take it, I think you call that. Final 5 minutes of the first half. This is a big moment in a big game. Looking around Croke Park, there aren't too many empty seats or standing places. Huge crowd for their first Leinster final meeting since 2001. This to make it a 2-point game. Brian Farrell has put it over. Good point. They've scored 4 out of the last 5 points, Meath. Brian Farrell has got 3. Buxton, 2 added minutes at the end of the first half. It started so well for the reigning Leinster champions, but the 2010 Leinster winners have come back into it in some style. Dublin leading, but Meath have had the better of the last quarter, certainly, until Conor Gillespie gave that away. Owen O'Gara, Bernard Brogan, Allen no longer on the field. Michael Darragh McCauley, Owen O'Gara, go to Bernard Brogan outside him. Brogan! Goal! They almost walked it in. What a time to score a goal after after all the good work that Meath have done to come back into this Leinster final. Bernard Brogan is making his point to himself, his manager and his team. 1-7-5.
Yeah, well, there's a wonderful piece of composure by every one of the players involved in that. Okay, Conor Gillespie will be kicking himself for giving the ball away so cheaply, but Bernard Brogan was at the end of a very good move. Gary, I've got to credit his composure in the whole build-up, but Brogan just slotted it neatly between the legs of David Gallagher, and that probably reflects the dominance that Dublin have had overall through the half.
1-4 for Bernard Brogan. Here he is again. Paul Flynn. Owen O'Gara calling for it, but the space has opened up for Dennis Bastick. They're in again. Bastick! 2 goals in the space of about 45 seconds have turned it dramatically in Dublin's favour, and David Gallagher could do nothing about it.
Well, it was like the parting of the Red Sea here. There was so much space that time as Bastick goes through and shoots the ball just onside. Doesn't take a sole run, doesn't try to sidestep his defender. Backs himself, has the confidence. Wonderful score.
And there is the whistle for the end of the first half. Those 2 lightning quick goals from Bernard Brogan and then from Dennis Bastick have done.
Meath. Dublin were the more impressive, but they were hanging in there, and now they're sitting in the dressing room. I have no doubt they must be in shock.
Absolutely devastated that they seem to start fairly slowly. Dublin just ran off into a big lead. They looked really confident, very sharp in how they were playing, defending very well. But the Meath players, they just played their way back into it. You know, like it was back down to 2 points, and it looked as if they were maybe looking at the clock and thinking, right, we have a few minutes to hang on here, regroup, come out in the second half, maybe 2 points down, and we'll really push on. But the goals just, you know, really be after hurting them.
Tony?
Yeah, the 2 minutes before half-time will kill them, and I'm not sure there's any way back for them at this stage. After 15 minutes with 6 points to 1, Dublin winning all the kickouts, winning, totally dominating midfield. Meath started to get a foothold there, and they got the next few scores. But what was crucial for Meath at this stage, to kick some bad wides, kicked 3 very bad wides. But they were back in the game until the last few minutes. But I thought Alan Brogan went off there because he was dominating the whole first half. I thought Meath might have some chance, but the 2 goals just like bursting a balloon for Meath.
Pat, you set up your defence from a Meath point of view. Adam Brogan, as Tony said, is there. He goes off. Do you think it unsettled them in some way? Do you think they just kind of lost their pattern?
Dublin? No, remember this Dublin team is a team that's 3 years in the making and have bought into Pat Gilroy's philosophy. Take Meath's team, for example. They were a team that built into philosophy last year with McEnany that failed. He tried a more modern type game with Meath this year, where they were counter-attacking from defence. Now when John Evans was introduced, they're trying to move the ball a bit quicker. And to be quite honest, they look like a team that's not too sure what style. They're bringing players back, but the sweepers don't have a clue as to what function, and they don't know whether to
won the minor by 3-17 to 1-11 against Meath. Some of the counties under 14 A and B development squads were meeting in matches played in Dublin earlier on today. Meath need a bright start in the second half, and Brian Farrell in front of Hill 16 has given them that first point of the second half. It's a really good score from Brian Farrell, who got 3 in the first half, all frees.
Yeah, interesting. No sole run from the kicker outfield. Gillespie, I think, put it in directly. Farrell won his 1-1. Took a great score.
And they have a free. Meath. I don't know what age or grade Meath go out and play in Gaelic football, or indeed hurling, but mostly in Gaelic football. They fight till the very end, and they have this never say die attitude, which they're going to need in abundance between now and the end of this game if there's to be a way back. Bernard Brogan with Brian Menton of Meath with him. Brogan got in for that crucial goal. He's in again, but looking for a point this time, and he's got it, and it cancels out the Farrell score. Could have been worse for Meath, better for Dublin.
Yeah, it could have been worse, but Brogan, I think, at the moment is in the full forward line with Kevin McManaman. Michael Darragh-Macaulay is playing out around the middle of the field. That space is in there. Dublin are exploiting it well. That 1-1 that time, Brogan made no mistake.
The Meath kickouts caused them serious problems in the first half. That's over towards that far line. Fennell has it. Free in to Dublin.
Yeah, I think it was a bad collision that time actually, and with a number of them going for the ball. But once again, from a Meath kick out, they didn't win it, and I think it was Brian Cullen took the belt that time.
That is Brian Cullen, yeah.
Yes.
Meath, and Meath have got it. Keane Ward. Pat O'Byrne ahead of him. Brian Mead on his shoulder. Mead leaving it to Ward to try and orchestrate a Meath score. This is promising now. Conor Gillespie through. Sheridan the decoy. Gillespie taking a fair bit out of this. Lets it off. Here's a goal chance. Cluxton with the save to deny Brian Farrell. Really fine save, and Cluxton furious with his defenders. They were in.
Yeah, well, great composure by the Meath attackers that time. Good pass over to, was it Farrell actually, but great save by Cluxton. Got down very well. Bit annoyed about his defenders, all right, that opportunity was afforded to Meath, but he made up for it. Great save. Just watch it here, coming. Cluxton sees it going to his right, gets down, gets a lovely hand to it. Even it took a slight deflection, I think, of one of his defenders there, but a strong right hand deflected out for the 45.
Joe Sheridan will take the 45. Need this. He's hit it beautifully. Nicely done from Joe Sheridan. Dave.
Effortless actually,
yeah,
Garrett.
wasn't it?
Effortless.
Outscoring Dublin. In the green and gold of Meath there. Instead, it's the sky blue of Dennis Bastick. And now Kevin McManaman. Tall Flynn is almost always available for the ball. Owen O'Gara, Brian Cullen, Michael Darragh Macaulay bursting a gut to try and get through. Here is Michael Darragh Macaulay off the post. Off the post. That could have been game, set and match right there. As it is, Meath are still hanging on. Mickey Burke fouled on the way out. What a move that was. Flynn at the heart of it. The post denied them a third goal.
Yeah, it started with McManaman, went to Flynn, went to O'Gara. Eventually, was it Macaulay had the effort, but he should have got a goal that time. Got it on his left foot. Good defending, it must be said, in fairness to, I think it was Harrington tried to get across to him, but I don't think he struck the ball that cleanly. I think he got a little bit up the leg, but he'll be disappointed not to have finished that one.
And we've just seen when you were watching, look to launch the ball in towards it. Graham Riley running straight at Dublin. Nolan backing up, free man over on the far side. This is promising for Meath. Bray turned back around. Graham Riley has put that one wide. Oh dear, and Shane McInerney and freeze. He's 3 from 3, Bernard Brogan. He scored 1-5 in this Leinster final. Mark it up to 1-6.
Yes, that's an interesting stat that you gave. Like, that's 4 from 4, isn't it? In the up before now.
Eamon Fennell, nobody near him, can take his spot and takes out Bernard Brogan. Paddy Andrews. Paul Flynn is the furthest forward again. There's this rotation of the Dublin attackers. Owen O'Gara drives through. O'Gara's in, away from Burke. Should have buried it. They're calling it wide, but the umpire is a bit reluctant to put up the white flag, and they can't decide what they're going to do. He's got instruction from referee Marty Duffy to signal it as wide.
I thought it was a point looking at it from here.
But these guys are in a better position to see it.
Yeah, just watch it here, O'Gara, that distinctive style of his. There, that one did all right. That's just inside the post.
Well, you can hear the reaction of the Meath followers here in Croke Park. They've just seen a replay on the big screen. Well, the Dublin fans, indeed.
In fairness, like the linesman is after coming over to Marty Duffy and told him that the error has been made by the umpire, and I think he's rectifying it and he's calling a point.
Well, you heard the reaction of the Dublin fans. Have we just seen video technology used? The umpire has rectified the mistake.
I think Mickey Burke's best effort to try and actually get back failed, but it just went inside the post. It's quite clear on replay there.
Yeah, but how do we get to that decision? Anyway, here's Brian Cullen. Owen O'Gara. The point that wasn't, then was. Tall Flynn. James McCarthy. McCarthy Oh, he's put his boot right through that. And that one definitely is over the bar.
Yeah, the old swagger's returning to Dublin at the moment. I love the unscripted way that O'Gara plays. You don't know what he's going to do from.
Brian Farrell is 3 from 4 with his frees. Again, the noise on the hill, not helpful, but not putting him off. And Meath coming forward again. There's a bit of an issue for Stephen Bray, who pulled up. His Leinster final may be over. He's struggling. Here comes Graham Riley. James McCarthy in front, Paul Flynn there too. Brian Farrell now. They need a goal. The shot from Donegal-Tobin goes over. 2 in a row for Meath, 15 minutes to go. Still a long way back.
Yeah, fair play to Tobin. He saw the opportunity to overlap, saw the space in front of him. Hope for the pass at the end of the move.
James McCarthy. Meath, so many big names injured for them this year. Forced Seamus McEnany and others to bring the youngsters in. Here come Dublin again. Owen O'Gara. That move deserved a point, and O'Gara has given it to them. No doubt about that one.
Oh, that's a fabulous score. Lovely, adventurous move that time along the wing. A couple of times O'Gara was involved in it. Note the actual dispatch of the pass from Bernard Brogan was nonchalant. But O'Gara, you know...
Graham Riley. Keane Ward. Gets away from Cahill. Was going to shoot. Now decides to have a go, and he's tucked that one wide with this free. 9 points between these two great rivals. Farrell again been jeered and heckled. Doesn't put him off though. Owen Keoghan, Owen Harrington, Joe Sheridan. Keane Ward. Graham Riley, Sheridan to his right. He's got it now for Meath. Goes away from Nolan. Joe Sheridan, it opens up for him. And the drop kick did not work. Well, not long ago, after a terrible spring, Meath were relegated to Division 3 of the National Football League. That led to the push to get rid of the manager. Other components of that management team were brought in since. Tyler Byrne, they need a goal. They're desperate for a goal. They've got a point, though, from Graham Riley.
Yeah, that's the point I was making a couple of moments ago, that Joe Sheridan had kept coming with that type of a short hand-passing thing. He might have had a better opportunity to go for a goal. But good 1-2 that time between Tyler Byrne and Graham Riley. Riley shoots another good score.
And Mark Collins picking up on the loose kick-out from Stephen Cluxton. We've seen a few of those. Here's Jamie Queenie. A goal still on the menu for them. Jamie Queenie. Tyler Byrne there. Queenie has kept it in just about. It's in towards Farrell. Still there, and he's crunched just outside, though. It'll be a free in. And he decides to pop it over for the point. They've got the last 3 in a row. Farrell has kept the scoreboard ticking over for them all afternoon. Dublin using their 5th and final sub. Another one of the Brogans, Paul, is in. Receiving treatment at the minute. Graham Riley plays on for Meath. Last 3 minutes. Tyler Byrne. Brian Farrell. Keane Ward. Now Mark Collins. Jamie Queenie. They need a goal, and they've got one. Jamie Queenie burying that in the back of the net. Game on in Croke Park. For so long, it looked as if this was over. Now there's only a goal between them.
Well, talk about being true to the Meath tradition. It's never over till it's over. And that time Queenie was in the right place to rifle the ball to the net. That's a wonderful assist too, it must be said, by Mark Collins, an inexperienced player coming in. But that's a great shot in the arm for Meath, and it gives a complete different complexion to the last.
Away to 3. Here they come though. Cian O'Sullivan. Meath are back in the game. Bernard Brogan looking to put 2 scores between them, and that's a big point and a real statement from Bernard Brogan and from Dublin. Meath have got another mountain to climb.
Massive score from Bernard Brogan. There's leadership at its best. Just at a time when you think maybe the fire has started and is going to rage into an inferno, Brogan takes things into the word goal.
Joe Sheridan held up, and now it's Paderborn. The teams from 91 were greeted by the fans at half-time. They know all about comebacks, and Graham Riley has put that over, so a goal between them again. Riley with the point. Possession from this next kick out. It has to be Meath's.
Well, you can't give enough credit to Meath today for the spirit that they've showed from the word goal, because they were outplayed for long periods of this game. It looked to be dead and buried time and time again. The timing of that goal from Queenie, very, very important, but they've managed to stay in the contest and give themselves a chance maybe of winning.
Dennis Bastick gives the ball to Meath, almost with Sheridan. Now it's Philly McMahon. Dublin had switched off for long periods of this second half and got far too casual. And now they've got to get that intensity going again. Meath are intense. Here's Graham Riley. They have got to work a goal. Riley goes through. Still turning and twisting. He's lost the ball now. Paul Brogan has it back. Now it's Barry Cahill. A goal between them. 2 minutes of added time we're playing. That's gone out of play by Paddy Andrews, and Meath will have one last chance. This is it. Conor Gillespie, who's worked so hard for Meath all the way through. Gillespie's been caught in the face. Jamie Queenie got that Meath goal a couple of minutes ago. Keane Ward. Ward is dragged down by Barry Cahill. Cahill knew what he was doing, gives away the free. A point from a free is no good for Meath now. Brian Farrell has the ball in his hand.
Yeah, and Cowell's not worried about taking the yellow card in that situation. You know, keep the house.
Here they come. Cahill's been booked. Here's Ward. Now it's Riley, and Riley's blasted it wide.
No, I think he's going to ask him to retake it, because
he's going to do it again.
Yeah, Marty Duffy wasn't happy about it. He had his back turned to it when Riley took the free kick that time, or when the free kick was taken.
Yeah.
There was a bit of a row going on at the other side of the field between, I think, Rory O'Carroll and Joe Sheridan. But they've got to lob this in, I think. I mean, well, time is nearly up.
You know what? Graham Riley will be relieved. Instructions from Trevor Giles as to what to do. Can they engineer a goal? The 2 minutes almost gone. Farrell drills it in, and Cluxton's caught it. He had to go for it. It was the last kick of the game. It was the last kick. It's over. It's over. Some confusion at the end. But Dublin are Leinster champions again. But you know what? Only just. Meath kicking 9, 10, well, up to 12 second half wides, 11 second half wides. But they kicked away a lot of possession close to the Dublin goal, and a lot of scoring opportunities went against them. Dublin went 10 minutes without a score in the second half, and Meath came back at them like a freight train. Queenie's goal brought them back to within a goal. Brogan's point stretched it out to 4. Riley got it back to 3, and they just couldn't engineer another goal. It's another Leinster champion.
Fellas, they had to wait until it got into the second half, when the game inevitably becomes a bit of a scrap, to sort of get stuck into it, if you like. Well, and then they really did.
They did. Well, in the first half, they were in serious trouble on kickouts, but in the second half, it totally changed.
Yeah.
It got to the stage that Stephen Cluxton started kicking really short kickouts. Meath were able to pin them a little bit further up the field, and they actually turned over a few
of
kickouts.
And of course, it was one of the old guard that was helping me do that, Joe Sheridan.
Yeah, I did. Around the middle of the field, he was doing very, very well. But it was a case that Meath, second half, had possession. They had a lot of chances. But I think that they'll look back on this and think, we did well to get closer to them, but do you know what? We missed a lot of chances. Like, Graham Riley will look back on it with chances missed. Yeah. They went for goals at the very end that if they had kept tipping away by maybe a few points, they could have been even closer. But you know, I think our views of the game might be a little bit skewed from the last 5 minutes of excitement. But for an awful lot of that second half, Dublin were sloppy compared to where they have been, and so were Meath.
But did they deserve to win it, though, Pat, Dublin?
They did. They won it in the first 15 minutes when they went 6-1 up, and they won it in the 2 minutes before half-time when they scored the 2 goals.
OK, while we're talking here in the studio, Brian Cullen, the Dublin captain, is accepting the Leinster trophy from the Leinster chairman, Martin Skelly. And Brian Cullen, once again, the victorious captain for Dublin, defeating Meath on a scoreline of 2 goals and 13 points to 1 goal and 13 points. So then let's hear from the Dublin manager, Pat Gilroy. He's talking to Joanne Cantwell.
Well, Pat, congratulations. I'm sure you're delighted with another Leinster title, but probably not too delighted with the way the match finished.
No, we finished the last 15 minutes fairly poorly now. You know, we'd been going reasonably well up to that point, but you know, we certainly made silly mistakes and got a bit lazy in the last 15 minutes.
Why do you think that is?
Well, it was a very hot day, and I mean, I think we had to make changes, and maybe the guys that came in just didn't get to the pace of the game quick enough, you know. But you know, we had to take guys out around the middle because it was just so hot that there had been a fair bit of work done at that stage, you know.
Well, that was where you were really on top in the early stages, would you agree?
Yeah, no, we started the game very well. We had a lull patch in the middle of the first half and obviously finished the first half very well. And I thought we'd started the second half very well, but again, we just didn't keep that dominance around the middle. But, you know, if you got to give credit to Meath, I mean, they never lay down in that game, and their intensity was huge right through the game.
Do Dublin need to be more ruthless, though?
Look, the time to be ruthless is later on in the year, and you know, we created a lot of chances today, and we didn't finish them, but it's good to be creating them at this time of year and hopefully later on get them.
Well, we've heard people maybe worried about the form of the two Brogan boys. It looks like they answered their critics today.
You know, you don't become a bad player just because you have a bad day here. You know, they're a lot of hard work. You know, now hopefully Alan's groin is okay. He had a bit of a problem there, but you know, they're good players. There's no question about it.
Well done today, Pat. Thanks very much.
Thanks a million.
I'm very, very proud of the Meath players, the way they performed that second half. They fought tooth and nail. They showed real Meath spirit. And, you know, listen, there's a myth there about the 6-day turnaround, but we intend turning that 6-day turnaround and that myth on its head. There's a real good group of lads, very honest, giving us everything. And I'm looking forward to the game next weekend already. The clock is ticking for us.
All right. Kevin McStay, good battling performance from Meath, no doubt. Were Dublin better team by a distance or by just 3 points in your view?
No, more than 3, I'd say, Des, maybe half a dozen plus. It was a funny sort of a game. We were watching it, Aaron and myself, and we kind of, with 10 minutes to go, we were wrapping up thinking, well, it's done and dusted. But typical Meath, they got back into it with the Queenie goal, and then, you know, it started looking tight all over again, and anything can happen, as you know, when there's only a kick of a ball between it. But no, on paper, Dublin were the more polished outfit. They had the better penetration. They were the better team.
Now, the frustration for the Meath players and supporters, Aaron, 1 minute of craziness just before the break.
Yeah, it was, I suppose it was a minute that turned the whole game on top of its head. This bit here in particular, we felt that if Conor Gillespie had looked further up the lane and passed it to Graham Rayleigh, that he would have taken out 4 Dublin players. Yeah. Unfortunately, the ball gets cut out. It ends up a couple of 1-2s here, and Bernard Brogan finishes well to the back of the net, and it was a hammer blow really to Meath's hopes.
In added time particularly.
Yeah.
Good finish in fairness.
It is indeed, yeah. He finishes very well. He's under a bit of pressure, but then straight away the ball comes out. As you see, Dennis Bastick breaks the ball and just continues his run on. His man gets caught ball watching, and Paul Flynn plays a lovely ball over the top, and Dennis finished this here with great composure, and that was really, we felt, the biggest turning point in today's game, and it was going to be all uphill for Meath after that.
And it was, and yet, Kevin, you said Meath had chances, and
do you know, he hadn't a chance to rectify it now, but at least Michael Duffy got a chance to rectify. Matty Duffy got a chance to rectify today, and a wrong was righted, so that's good.
And of course, there isn't a big screen in lots of the other grounds,
exactly,
which is a factor. Now we're about to name our man of the match, but before we do, Aaron, you were raving about one performer from Meath who wasn't on the winning team, but talk us through Donald Keoghan today.
Yeah, he was a player from the very outset. I was looking forward to seeing him playing today because I was really impressed with his performance the last day against Kildare, as he was a newcomer in the side and no one knew anything about. But I just felt his attacking today of the ball, his near hand tackling, he just had his eye on the ball the whole time. He never gave Kevin McMenamin an inch. He was very composed any time he had it. And if you just this clip here, you see his near hand, like. Generally, you'll see a lot of pulling and dragging, and he doesn't, he doesn't let his man get away at any stage. And it was really, really tenacious stuff throughout. And he really led by example. For a young player, he's someone that Meath's really going to build their hopes on, I would imagine, for the future.
He's got, wasn't it John Doyle the last day we said?
That's right, yeah.
Was taken off on him.